let's go over some helpful tips and procedures to clean and care for our oil paint brushes. That will help us save our precious time and money. To better understand how to care for a brush, let's quickly run through its anatomy. A brush is made up of bristles and a handle, joined together by a metal ferrule. On one end, the ferrule is crimped and glued to the handle, and on the other end, the hairs are glued and pinched to the ferrule. There are two major types of brush hairs. First up, synthetic hairs, composed of nylon, polyester, or both. Synthetic hairs are usually interchangeable between oil paint and acrylic paint. They are typically softer and cheaper than natural hair, and being made of plastic, they are a little bit more durable and tend not to break. Next up is the natural hair brushes, with the most typical hairs being hog bristle and sable. Natural hairs work better with oil paint. The oil coats, conditions, and protects the hairs. Natural hairs tend to hold their shape better, but they are not as durable as plastic, so they tend to break when more pressure is applied. Now it's on to the cleaning materials. Oil paints using a refined seed oil as the binder, such as a linseed, need to be dissolved by a solvent spirit. Artist grade, odorless mineral spirits are a safer turpentine substitute. Safely store your spirits in one of two types of containers. First, an airtight glass jar with a screw-on lid. I recommend a silicoil jar. They contain a rounded coiled spring agitator, which separates the colors from your brush much easier. But watch out. A few brands like to use a metal wire agitator. Those tend to be very rough on brushes. Second, you could use an airtight metal wash can with latches. Being able to get an airtight seal is very important on your solvent container. Solvents are harsh on you and your environment, so protect yourself. I would recommend one with a removable metal strainer. This allows to agitate the brush, but also mainly to separate the solvent from the dissolved colors as they fall to the bottom of the jar. But honestly, any common airtight glass jar will do. Just remember to clean the dissolved color regularly. Do not overfill your container with solvent, just enough to submerge the hairs of the brush and land on the metal ferrule. Remember, do not fill above the crimp on the metal ferrule, or you will swell the wood and loosen the joint, and possibly separate the hairs from the handle. When using a silicoil, fill to the height of the spring. Artist oils, while adding fluidity to our color, can also clean and dilute the oil paint from our brush, creating a safer environment without all the harsh fumes of the turpentine substitutes. Walnut oil is the perfect oil for this. Many painters, including myself, just use walnut oil to clean our brushes rather than using any harsh turpentines. Once again, use a metal or glass container. You'll need two, one for your initial clean, your dirty oil, and then one for your second cleaning, or your clean oil.
Michael, I must interject. Walter, remove this modernity from me. As I was saying, why are you spending all of your precious creation energy on cleaning brushes? Don't you have an Academy-certified apprentice for that?
Nope, sadly I don't.
Then what's the dog for? Anyway, it's a total waste of time. Walter, the book! Toodles.
Always a pleasure, Hermes, thanks. Now let's go over the cleaning process. First, a temporary cleaning, if you'll be painting again within a few days. Start your brush cleaning with an odorless mineral spirit rinse, making sure to drag your brush over the agitator while pushing down gently. Carefully bend the hairs at the base of the metal ferrule to clean any hidden color trapped there. If any of the oil color remains and then dries at the base, it may cause the brush to fray and lose its shape. Then wipe down a shop towel or cotton rag. Repeat that process a few times. Next, it is off to our clean oil. Again, gently press the hairs into the walnut oil. The oil will help leach out any remaining color while oiling and conditioning the brush. This is especially good for natural hair brushes. Turpentine again is harsh on brush hairs, both acrylic and natural. Walnut oil, being a slow dryer, will keep the brush clean and ready to paint for at least a few days afterward. Or you can skip the odorless mineral spirits altogether and just clean with 2 containers of walnut oil. Now, while this doesn't get your brush as clean, it is much safer and easier on you and your environment. First, rinse your dirty brush in the initial cleaning oil or dirty oil. After wiping down, run the brush in the clean oil for a deeper clean to further remove more color. Odorless mineral spirits really do a much more thorough job of cleaning, but they again are a harsh solvent and damage the hairs of your brush over time. Meanwhile, a walnut oil doesn't get them as clean, but it's much easier on the hairs of your brush. To avoid a deep cleaning beyond a few days, you can leave your brushes in a jar of vegetable or canola cooking oil. And also, baby oil is another great temporary storage oil. Same as filling up our turp jar, we do not want to fill past the crimp on the ferrule. Fill the jar just enough to completely cover the hairs of the brush. Do not use any non-artist grade oils to paint with. Clean that brush and then recharge it with your preferred artist oil before use. Now on to long-term complete cleaning and care. For natural hair brushes, you'll need a mild soap with conditioners, while synthetic hairs can be cleaned with a stronger dishwashing liquid. Before washing any brush, wipe down all the excessive oil on a towel. Now let's clean the synthetic brush. First, rinse off the brush with some warm water. Then pour a small amount of detergent in the palm of your hand. Gently swirl the brush, remembering to lightly press the hair at the base to expose any of the trapped paint that might be in the metal furl. Do this for 1 to 2 minutes. Then rinse with warm water, but not hot. You don't want to melt the glue of the brush. Then repeat until the scrubbed soap remains clear after cleaning. Finally, lay the brushes flat to dry. That way no residue can creep back into the base of the hairs of the furl. For natural hair brushes, I like Master's Brush Cleaner. But really, any mild brush soap with conditioners will do just fine. Follow the same process as before. After wetting the soap, gently work some soap into the brush. Then lightly scrub it into the palm of your hand. Please remember, natural hairs break much easier than synthetics, so be gentle and go slow. Yep, you guessed it, rinse and repeat until clean. That'll probably take about 2 to 3 times. When done, you can leave some lathered soap overnight in the brush to clean up any stubborn paint and to reshape both natural and synthetic brushes. After 1 to 2 days, gently rinse with warm water to release the soap. And finally, there are brush restoring solvent solutions for those brushes that have stuck in stubborn paint or have dried stiff and lost their flexibility. Many companies make a restorer. I've had really good luck with Winsor Newton. Pour enough of the solution to a glass jar or metal can to properly submerge the hairs of the brush. To create an airtight seal to soak, cover with saran wrap or cellophane. Then, let soak overnight and up to 24 hours. If you leave your brushes in the solution longer than the noted 24 hours, you really run the risk of dissolving the hairs or the enamel off the furl. Alright, see you in the morning.
Sleep tight, everyone.
Hermie, stop that. After removing the brushes from the solution, wipe them down on a towel to remove any dissolved paint or any extra solvent. Using your brush soap with conditioner, wash the brush a few times to remove any extra paint, and then reshape the brush and let it dry overnight. If these series of steps cannot restore your brush, sadly, it might be time for a new one. But you might be able to repurpose it. On to the postscript, my favorite oil painting brushes. When I paint, I am very heavy-handed and I'm very rough on brushes and materials. Also, I'm kinda lazy and I don't want to spend all my time cleaning brushes. Thus, I don't buy super expensive brushes. My favorite brush of all time are these Utrecht mixed synthetic brushes. They are soft yet firm, they retain their shape, they last forever with minimal care, and they do not break the bank. I do have a lot of them. The other types of brushes I use a lot are really anything from Robert Simmons, and these hog hair bristle brushes from Connoisseur. It's really a great brush for the price. Speaking of repurposing older brushes, I use my older, stiffer brushes for underpaintings and lay-ins. I use my softer frayed brushes as blending brushes. My worn-down, smaller hog bristle brushes become my underpainting drawing brushes. I basically try to keep everything until they just fall apart. Remember, the brush does not make the painting. You do. They are temporary, consumable tools of creation. Find the ones you like and try to make them last. But more importantly, don't be afraid to completely ruin them in the search of discovery. Anyway, I hope this helps. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Activation complete. Mission acquired. Time to make some art.